From the headquarters of Telesur English in Quito, Ecuador, I'm Carla Gonzalez, and this is From the South. The Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has revealed evidence incriminating a number of people linked to the Colombian government and with ties to the United States in the attempted assassination carried out on Saturday. President Maduro provided a step-by-step timeline of the events leading up to and during the attack. One of the two drones used, one of them was operated from the 10th floor of a nearby building by a group which was trained in the Colombian town of Chinacota in the province of Santander. Maduro said that perpetrators had carried out observation of prior parade events but did not launch the attacks because of lack of preparation. He said both drones were disoriented by electronic blocking devices. Maduro also disclosed the identities of the individuals who carried out the attack and the identities of those who are still wanted abroad. The list included Juan Carlos Monasterio, who was recruited, and 11 others in the plot, all of whom had participated in the 2014 and 2017 Guarimba violence. Maduro also named masterminds behind the attack: Raider Alexander Russo Marquez, who resides in Colombia, and Osman Delgado Taboski, a financier who lives in Miami. Both were involved in the attack on Fort Paramacay last year. The Venezuelan president said he would ask the governments of the United States and Colombia to extradite those involved, and he instructed his foreign minister Jorge Arreaza to hand over to the U.S. and Colombian authorities all the necessary documentation.
With the Colombian state, actually. But I would also like to request the extradition immediately of the manager, the political manager, and the main financer of this terrorist group, Osman Alexis Delgado Taboski, who lives in Florida. Know him, international community. See his face, Delgado Taboski. He personally directed through communication radial systems, as I'm going to show you, directed the terrorist attack. But also, he financed and participated in the attack against the Paramacay fort.
President Maduro shared video testimony of one of the people directly involved in carrying out the plot against him. In his testimony, Juan Carlos Monasterio detailed his movement between Venezuela and Colombia as they prepared for the attack.
Then we agreed how to work with the drones, and then there was the person that was in charge to pass them to Venezuela. The idea was passing them through Venezuela, taking them through plane to the Caracas airport. Then I came here on land, and we arrived here on July 3. July 3. We were waiting for the drones to arrive. They should have arrived on July 4. However, there were some issues in the airport, and then they were brought back. Then this operation was reorchestrated for August 4th.
And Maduro also presented audio conversations obtained by intelligence in which the people who carried out the plot are heard discussing the attack as it was being executed on August 4th.
The act was supposed to begin at 4 p.m. I'm seeing the state channel here, and it still hasn't begun on the state broadcast. I repeat, I need you to please indicate what is happening there. If I'd already started the act, or it has not begun. Okay, Alpha 2, we are already taking positions. Notify me. We are attentive to whether the act now begins or what is happening, because we are not seeing anything on the news.
Waiting for the act to begin because we didn't see anything.
Sending. Calm, Alpha 4.
Going up.
Ready. We'll maintain our positions. We are already here now. The act has begun. Ready. We are on standby.
Okay.
On Tuesday night, the Bolivarian intelligence services SEBIN arrested Juan Requesens of the opposition party Primero Justicia for his alleged role in the assassination plot. Requesens is said to be among the people who financed the attack and was identified alongside another opposition leader, Julio Borges. In an audio conversation between the suspects, Juan Carlos Monasterio indicated that Requesens helped him move to Colombia for training. Requesens had previously been accused of playing a leading role in the Guarimba violence of 2017. Hours before President Maduro made his accusations against Colombian authorities, Iván Duque was sworn in as the new president of Colombia, in the midst of an almost biblical thunderstorm at Bolivar Square in Bogotá. Heads of state and dignitaries from across Latin America arrived in Bogotá for the inauguration. President Sebastián Piñera of Chile, Mauricio Macri of Argentina, and Evo Morales of Bolivia were welcomed by a Colombian military guard of honor. After taking the oath, Duque repeated his campaign promise to review and modify Colombia's peace process.
We will establish corrective measures to ensure that the victims get the truth, get proportionate justice and effective compensation, so that it is not repeated in any other part of the country. We will also correct the structural failures that have become evident in the peace deal's implementation.
También corregiremos las fallas estructurales.
During the first 30 days of our government, we will carry out a detailed, judicious, prudent, responsible, and analytical evaluation of what has been done in the last 17 months of talks with the ELN that the outgoing government has advanced.
Large opposition protests took place from early in the day against the presidency of Duque, who is backed by the former president Álvaro Uribe and is seen as representing the far right. The protesters said they fear that democracy is at risk under the new president. They also believe Duque, who succeeded Juan Manuel Santos, would undo the peace deal reached with the FARC, which ended decades of conflict in the country. Duque's firebrand rhetoric has increased tension and rocked already fragile relations with the group. Protests were also held around the world to denounce the recent killings of social leaders in Colombia. The protests were organized by the International Agenda for Peace in London. Demonstrators said the state of Colombia has an obligation to protect social leaders, which would resolve this humanitarian crisis. They also demanded that the murders be stopped. People in the protest held photographs of murdered social leaders.
The state has systematically declined to offer security to farmers, social leaders, women that represent their communities, fishermen and campesinos. The crisis is huge, and we can say that the defenders of human rights and social leaders are all by themselves and they are being killed. This government that takes position today in Colombia has the responsibility to complete the peace process and save Colombia from an indefinite war and stop taking Colombia into chaos, violence and humanitarian crisis.
We'll take a short break now, but join us again after this video from our multimedia team.
No podrán con nuestro presidente, no podrán contra el pueblo, no podrán contra la revolución bolivariana, porque estamos despiertos, estamos con una conciencia cada día más abierta, más despierta, más contentos, ¿verdad?, por lo que estamos viviendo, y que bueno, pues nosotros condenamos rotundamente todo lo que pasó con nuestro presidente.
Women in Argentina are preparing for a decisive day in which the Senate will vote on a bill for the legalization of abortion. The session in Congress will start at 10 a.m. local time, and predictions say the vote will be tight, as senators for and against the abortion bill are evenly divided. If this bill is passed, Argentina will join Cuba, Uruguay, and Mexico City, so far the only places in Latin America where the right to choose is legally recognized. If it is rejected, a new bill will have to wait one more year to be discussed again. And as the vote approaches, groups campaigning for and against abortion rights are preparing more mobilizations. Pro-choice supporters paid tribute to Liliana Herrera, a 22-year-old woman who died after a clandestine abortion last weekend. With this homage, they wanted to publicize the tragedy of poor women in Argentina who are not able to access a safe procedure. It is estimated that around 500,000 illegal abortions are performed in Argentina every year. Feminist groups insist that legalization is the only way to avoid deaths as Liliana's.
Every time, the political class is more afraid of the women's movement, and it's good because we will not give up. We will not stop doing everything in our power to make abortion legal.
Demonstrations are also expected outside Argentinian embassies around the world to support the access to free, safe, and legal abortion. Women in hundreds of cities want to show their support for their Argentinian comrades. Most of the demonstrations are planned in the Americas and across Europe, but also in countries such as Mozambique, Syria, Iran, and Japan. And to talk more about the Senate's vote and the planned demonstrations, we are joined now from Buenos Aires by Aldana Valles, a feminist activist and journalist from Economía Feminista. Hello, Aldana. Thank you for joining us. The Senate's vote seems to be tight. What do you think will be the final decision by the senators?
Well, we don't know what is going to happen. Actually, that things don't look so good for the court. Legal abortion, because an estimate vote says that there will be like 39 senators. This is what we know by their sayings. They're actually saying they're going to vote against this bill. But there has been a lot of flip-flopping from senators during the last week, so we still don't know. The end is very, very uncertain yet.
So can you tell us more about the mobilizations that are happening in Argentina and in other countries to support abortion rights?
Well, it is a rainy day here in Buenos Aires, but in spite of the rain and the cold, a huge demonstration is expected, both from pro-choice groups and pro-life groups. The national campaign for legal abortion in Argentina is calling 2 million women, 2 million people on the streets at the gates of the Congress to demand that the senators vote in favor of this bill. And there is also a demonstration from the pro-life group, also in the same place. The square in front of the Congress is divided between the green group, which supports the bill, and the light blue group that is against of this bill.
And what happens now if the Senate doesn't pass the bill? What other measures can feminist groups take?
Well, if the Senate doesn't pass this bill, we have to wait for a year until we can present again a bill to legalize abortion. But the thing is that now we are going to be aware of what senators and, well, all the people that is going to represent us in the Congress, what they actually think of the feminist agenda, and we're going to be demanding that they respect that feminist agenda and they vote for bills that can guarantee our rights in the Congress.
Thank you very much.
We have elections.
Yes, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Let's go to another story. A court in Argentina has sentenced former Vice President Amado Boudou to 5 years and 10 months in prison for bribery and conducting business incompatible with public office. Boudou, 55, also served as economy minister during the 2007-2015 administration of President Cristina Fernández. The court also banned the former vice president for life from elective office, fined him around $3,000, and ordered him to be immediately sent to a local jail. He denied any wrongdoing in court, saying the accusations are politically motivated. The Supreme Court in Chile has sentenced 23 former members of the security forces who worked during the dictatorship of Augusto Pinochet. They are linked to 2 cases of political kidnapping in 1974. The victims who disappeared were 2 college students, 21-year-old Maria Cristina Lopez Stewart and 25-year-old Álvaro Vallejos Villagran. According to witnesses, they were also tortured. Along with the 23 officers, a former member of Colonia Dignidad has also been found guilty. The Puerto Rican independence leader Oscar López Rivera has been released after spending several hours in detention at an airport in Panama. López Rivera has now arrived in Bolivia, where he was traveling to participate in the international seminar America in Dispute. The authorities in Panama had threatened to deport him to Puerto Rico, even though he had a valid passport and has served his political sentence in a U.S. prison. Social movements criticize his arbitrary detention. After almost 5 hours of debate, Ecuador's National Assembly ratified President Lenín Moreno's veto of the Productive Development Law. Denise Herrera reports.
The National Assembly has passed the non-binding veto of the Productive Development Law brought by President Lenín Moreno. Back on July 18, he presented 66 objections to the bill, which had been approved on July 21st. It then went into the hands of the Economic Development Commission before being ratified on Tuesday.
In technical terms, it doesn't have a general vision of national development. Some assemblymen defending benefits in this law say that it is possible to save parts, but no, the law as a whole.
Several lawmakers rejected the new changes. They have insisted that the law benefits very few people, and they also continue to question its illegality.
The investment is going to fall. The national production, the domestic consumption of the families will fall. This law legalized contraband. They say they will be able to fix the part of the law that deals with irregularities in customs, but really what they are saying is, smuggle what you can, and if you find them, we will be able to fix it.
The National Assembly passed 3 sections by 90 votes. They didn't pass the suggestions sent by the executive related to small business issues and public debt.
The law has 3 major elements. One is expected a reimbursement of $600 million with the contribution of those who accept the referral. In 2 years, that could rise to $700 million.
Reconocer todas las partes positivas que tiene esta ley.
Recognize the positive parts of the law as it is in the agricultural sector, which has been what motivated me to vote in favor. For example, the tax on agricultural inputs will be removed.
La eliminación del IVA a los insumos agropecuarios.
According to the government, the bill seeks to promote productive development, attraction of investment, employment, and stability. The National Assembly announced the bill will have to be applied in 18 days. Denise Herrera, Telesur, Ecuador.
It is official, Jean-André Seant has been sworn in as the new Prime Minister of Haiti. President Jovenel Moïse said the new PM was one of the few with the conviction to serve for the betterment of Haiti. Moïse revealed his choice Monday following 2 days of intense negotiations with leaders of both houses of parliament. He replaces Jacques-Guy Lafontaine, who resigned after he was blamed for the poor rollout of fuel prices hikes, which caused riots in the capital. Grenada is cleaning up after a tropical wave caused massive floods and landslides across the island late July. 2 out of 6 parishes had been declared disaster zones. Cleaning up is continuing, but there has been a call for communities to assist the government where they can to clear debris, especially since access to resources needed for larger cleanup operations are scarce. The fastest man in the world plans to become the fastest man in football. Usain Bolt has signed on to play with the Central Coast Mariners, an Australian football club. He starts training with them on August 18 for what the club says is an indefinite period. He is the current world record holder in both the 100 and the 200-meter race, and now he's trying to break records in another sport.
Hi guys, you see here. I just want to say thanks to everybody at the Central Coast Mariners for giving me this opportunity to play professional football in the A-League. I'm looking forward to the opportunity to prove that with hard work anything is possible. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to come here and do my best. Watch out, I'm on the way. Remember, I don't think limits.
In Chile, a mountain of teddy bears and fresh flowers are decorating a popular shrine. They pay tribute to Astrid Soto, also known as Beautiful Girl, who was killed 20 years ago in a motorbike crash. Since then, people have visited the site of the tragic accident to ask for miracles, as they believe her spirit acquires special powers. According to the popular belief, the girl's spirit still wanders this Chilean highway. We'll take a short break now, but join us again after a video from our multimedia team. Welcome back. U.S. Republican Troy Balderson held on to a narrow lead in a hotly contested House of Representatives race in the U.S. state of Ohio on Tuesday. It's reported that a late show of support from President Donald Trump went into favor of Balderson, who won by just 1,700 votes. The close race in Ohio had been seen as a referendum on Trump's leadership. And we have an update on the Indonesian earthquake for you. Let's take a look at what that is and some of today's other stories.
Victims of Sunday's earthquake on Lombok Island are choosing to stay in tents rather than hospital wards. They fear the hospital may collapse in aftershocks. That's after another earthquake hit the island on Monday with 2 strong aftershocks. Weary of a third tremor, tents have been erected in the hospital's yard with the option to go into the hospital to cool down from the heat. It's reported that 131 people have died so far. British Prime Minister Theresa May has condemned comments made by her former Foreign Minister Boris Johnson for saying that Muslim women who wear burqas look like mailboxes or bank robbers.
Well, first of all, I believe, and the government believes, that the question of how a woman should dress is a matter for a woman's individual choice. Nobody should be trying to tell a woman how to dress. As we discuss these issues, and openly discuss these issues, it's imperative that everybody is careful in the language that they use. It's very clear that the language that Boris Johnson used to describe people's appearance has caused offence. It's not language I would have used. I think it was wrong to have used that language, and I agree with Brandon Lewis.
Zimbabwe's former foreign minister and opposition politician from the MDC alliance, Tendai Biti, was arrested as he tried to cross the border to seek asylum in Zambia. He's the first politician to be arrested in the aftermath of last week's presidential election and stands accused of inciting violence.
And with those stories, we come to the end of this news brief. But there's another ones you can find on our website at telesurtv.net/English. And you can also join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. For Telesur English, I'm Carla Gonzalez. Thank you for watching.